Hello, we're live. I'm kind of trying something new here, so I'm a bit awkward and probably gonna have some technical difficulties. But yeah, I'm here. We're gonna listen to. Today we're just gonna listen to my brand new album that came out yesterday on my 23rd birthday. Grow in and Love Part One Waiting. I'm gonna turn this off. Just because I'm not sure if the audio is gonna be working, so I want to make sure that you can hear me. So today I'm not gonna be playing music and talking at the same time, because I will probably mess it up. Um, but yeah, I think I should probably check the audio real quick before I officially get started. Testing, testing. Mm-hmm. I'm now trying to see if I can hear myself on. Hello. Sorry, this is awkward because Twitch Studio decided to stop being a thing, so now I'm trying Streamlabs OBS, which is what most people use, but it's not as easy to use, and I'm sure I'm gonna mess up the technical stuff. But yeah, um, I don't really expect a lot of people to come up, cause these streams I'm still like growing as a streamer and still trying to get my audience. So I'm just gonna get started with the album. I'm gonna play each song and then talk a little bit about each song and try not to be as awkward as this intro was. And talk a little bit about how I made the song and what inspired it. And then later I'm gonna upload this to my YouTube hopefully, and then it'll kind of be like a behind the scenes kind of thing for the album. Um, so yeah, let me check this out, see how this works. Okay. Oh dear, you can see the part that says looking for a game to capture. Well, here is my Spotify page. There, you can see it. Alright. Now I'm gonna turn up the volume of Spotify up to max, and then mute my mic, and hopefully it'll work and I won't embarrass myself. I feel like an old person doing all this tech setup stuff. It's really scary because I've had streams where I messed up the audio so bad for the entire stream and I didn't notice and I messed up the entire stream. I'm so sorry. I just realized I was talking for the entire time and I was muted. Um, yeah, I'll probably when I export this to YouTube, I'm gonna cut that part out because that's really embarrassing. This is why it's nice to have people watching the stream so they can tell me that I'm muted. But anyway, I'm gonna start over. I'm really sorry. Um, so now that we've played the first song on the album and we've kind of got this started, I'm going to give a formal introduction to the album itself. Um, and I'm really embarrassed that I was muted. It's okay, nobody was watching. But hopefully people will come and watch in a bit. But that was this is Grow In and Low Part 1 Waiting. We're doing a listening party for my brand new album that just came out yesterday on my birthday, and that was track 1 called Marina. And I talked a little bit about it on my social media that that this album, the songs are kind of older. Like I said, I wrote and recorded them like 2021, 2022. That was like when I was creating my album Slip Through the Quiet Lust, like around the same time I was making these songs. That was like my big conceptual dream album where all the songs came from dreams. And at the same time I was working on this album. And the reason it took so long to create was mostly because it was originally going to be much bigger, and that's the reason why part 1 is in the title, is that I'm playing 2 parts, and it was originally going to be one big long album, but this part ended up getting finished first. It was originally going to be a big long album, and it was going to be a collaboration. And I suppose it's not bad to reveal that the person I was going to collab with is named Tunes, my friend from Portugal, who's already posted a lot about this album and already promoted it for me, which thank you so much, Tunes. We have like this singer-songwriter folk style that we thought would really mesh together, and it started with a demo of the title track, which we're going to listen to shortly in a bit. Started with my instrumental demo of that song. My friend Tunes, that I met through the Discord server, the greatest album of all time. I met Tunes through this Discord server, and then they listened to my demo of that song, and then we wanted to just start making an EP inspired by that musical style, kind of like that psychedelic folk, a little bit avant-garde. And then the EP expanded into a full album idea, and then we just started exchanging so many ideas back and forth. But then the collaboration just didn't really work out over the next few years as we tried to work on it, and I had these songs written, but Tunes was not really following through on recording a bunch of their stuff. Even though their songs were written, they were awesome, but we just couldn't get the full album done, and I could only really get these 7 songs done. So that's why I'm releasing them now. They've been sitting around for a while because I was like, I gotta finish the full album, but it just couldn't happen. So now we have part 1 here, and then part 2 is gonna come eventually. I'm gonna have a lot more contributions from my friend Tunes, who is originally gonna be the collaborator on this album. But we're gonna have to wait for that. But here we got part 1, these 7 songs that I made all by myself, and these are all solo Lylajean songs. So this is the song that I just mentioned. Next I'm gonna play the track that Tunes heard that inspired this whole project. This is the first single called Grow In and Low.
I will be in you, right standing you too, scars rebranding you, aligning their rooms, waiting for your love to grow in love. The increase is your
So that was the title track and the first single from the album, Grow In and Low. I just remembered to make my camera a little bit bigger here so you can actually see me. Kind of forgot to do that for after the last song. Yeah, I'm new to this streaming software, and I'm kind of anxious at the like talking in front of an audience and people are potentially watching me. That like I don't really think through like what technical stuff needs to be done during the stream. But yeah, I kind of want to go back and talk a little bit. And hello, Meep God, thank you for tuning into the stream. I kind of want to run back a little bit and talk a little bit about the first song, Marina, and then I'll talk about this title track, Grow In and Low. This is from my brand new album by Lylajean called Grow In and Low. And the first track, Marina, I kind of talked about the album itself already, but the first song, this was inspired by a dream, and I mentioned on my social media already. This is gonna this first track was inspired by a dream, and it was originally gonna be on my album Sleep Through the Quiet Lust. And I've mentioned before, I think on some of my posts that Sleep Through the Quiet Lust, I originally wrote 18 songs for it. I had over 70 song ideas, and then I wrote 18 songs, and then I narrowed it down to 14. And then Marina was one of the songs that got cut down when it was narrowed down from 18 to 14. The other song is actually also on this album. One of those 18 songs is called Guardian's Guardian, which is also on this new album. So yeah, Marina, inspired by a dream. Yeah, I have to say the most peculiar part of it is definitely the title. Like, it was only called Marina because that was the title in the dream. And it kind of made sense because I kind of got like some like aquatic themes and kind of aquatic musical atmosphere going on in the lyrics and in the production. So I just kind of tried to convey that as much as possible. In the dream that I had, it was like a finger-picked electric guitar, very soft and laid-back type pop song. And the lyrics are like really old. This was like a very much earlier song that I wrote in Marina. I think the lyrics are kind of more back in like my lowercase and lower life lyric writing style, when I would do more surrealist lyrics that don't really have a particular meaning. So I can't really say much about the meaning of the lyrics on that song. And then we have track 2, the title track, Grow In and Low. One second. So this song, Grow In and Low, which we just listened to, this was the first song that I made on the album. And you might have known that I've been playing this song live for years already, so it's kind of old. Yeah, I'm actually, some of you might know, I actually recorded the instrumental for this back all the way in mid 2020. That is, yeah, it was during the beginning of COVID. I wrote and recorded this on my phone. This was right after I made the album Lowercase, so it's that old. Yeah, it has quite a story. I was on a Discord server for an artist named Arca, who some of you probably have heard of. Like, if you like Arca's music, you're probably gonna like my music. But yeah, I was on a fan Discord server for Arca, and the group was making a mixtape where all the users were going to submit one of their own songs for kind of like, and there wasn't really any theme for the mixtape. You could kind of do whatever song you wanted. And I was like pretty new to making music, but I decided, this is like my chance to kind of try something out, get with a new group. So I made this song for the mixtape, and I was like, I know I don't really know how to produce. I'm not too good at anything musically. At that point, I'd only been playing. I'd only been making music for just over a year. I decided to just make something that would kind of merge my style and Arca's experimental electronic style to the best that I could. Um, so that was how this style came about. That's why it sounds so different from my other music. But then in the end, like, I realized, I'm not active on this Discord server. They don't know who I am. And like, I was not confident at all in my musical abilities. I was like, oh my god, this sucks. Like, they're they're probably like way better producers than me, and I don't even know what I'm doing with music. So I did, and I also I wrote lyrics for the song, and then I couldn't. I was like, these kind of suck. And then I couldn't figure out how to do the vocals right. So I had this instrumental that was really good, but like, I just yeah, I chickened out. I didn't submit the song to the mixtape. They ended up releasing the mixtape, and then Arca herself ended up listening to it. I think something like that. I forgot the story, but like, and then I was like, oh, I missed out. Cause then I ended up showing the song, the demo, instrumental demo of the song "Growing and Low" to my friends. Um, I sent it like in a private Discord server, and then Tunes ended up listening to it, and then everybody that I showed it to was like, Lila, this is like the best thing that you've ever made, even though it's just the instrumental. And I recorded it on my phone, and I like didn't, and I thought I didn't know how to play guitar. But yeah, I made this instrumental, and all my friends said it was really good. And then Tunes came to me and was like, we should make an album. We should make an album inspired by this track. And then that was how the idea for this album came to be. That was February 2021. And now it's October 20th, 24, and we're finally hearing the first part of the album. But that's a whole other story of how I started to make the album. But yeah, that's the story of the song Grow In and Low, that psychedelic style. And then the lyrics, similar story to the song Marina, where like it's just like I wrote this during like my lowercase era. Like, it's just surrealist lyrics. They don't really mean anything. Like, I could try to like extract meaning from the lyrics, but I think I would just like walk in circles, and I'm kind of embarrassed by the lyrics too because I don't even know what they mean. And when I sing it live and when I released this, I was like, oh, I'm really putting out a song with these kinds of lyrics. But I just kept them because I thought they were, you know, acceptable, and I already performed the song live many times with the same lyrics. So yeah, we're here, and I'm really proud of the song, and that's why it was the first single from the album. Alright, I've talked for a while now. I talked for like 10 minutes straight, but yeah, let's go on to the next track. I honestly don't remember what the next track is. Oh yeah, Holding Myself. Alright, let's get right into it. So that was track 3, "Holding Myself." That's the third, yeah, the third track, and it's the second single from the album. And I'll talk about it a little bit. Um, as I mentioned a few times, the album was inspired when my friend Tunes came to me and heard the demo for my song "Grow In and Low," the title track, and we ended up deciding to make a full album inspired by that style. And this was the second song that I ended up writing for it. Kind of "Grow In and Low" was the impetus, and then I wanted to make a full album of songs in that style. And then "Holding Myself," it started with the instrumental, um, and it started in a very unexpected way. I was learning the song. I was learning to play the song "Morning Morgantown" by Joni Mitchell, which is a very upbeat folk pop song from the 1970s, and it's in an alternate tuning. And I was just like playing around, and I put my guitar in the correct tuning to play that song, but then I put it back to standard tuning, and I decided, what if I use the same picking pattern, but in standard tuning and with different chords, obviously. So this song, it has the exact same picking pattern as "Morning Morgantown" by Joni Mitchell. Um, so that was where it started, and then I just, uh, you know, I wrote the chords in a way that sounded good to me, and then I made the whole instrumental, and then there was time, and then the melody and the lyrics came later, um, and because sometimes people write the lyrics and the melody first, and then they do the instrumental. Like it happens really either way with my songs, but this time the guitar came first, and then lyrically, and like production wise, I was mostly inspired by the artist Grouper, who makes like ambient songs. Like her songs, like the ambient instrumental production is like very overwhelming, and she has this very soothing production style where it's really focused on the ambience, and like it's like music that you can fall asleep to, but there's also like vocals, and there's like pop song structures hidden underneath. And that's really, Grouper was really a big inspiration for this album and also a lot of my songs. So this song in particular, especially, um, I I kind of wanted the song to like gradually start becoming more reverby, and eventually just become ambient in the middle, kind of like a hypnotic effect, very similar to what you'll hear in a lot of Grouper songs. Um, kind of, I got distracted because I thought I heard someone talking to me. But yeah, and then after it becomes ambient, I wanted there to be a very dramatic shift in like the chords progression of the song, which you hear about midway through the song. Like kind of becomes this drone for about like 10 seconds or something, and then we switch to a completely different chord progression that completely changes the mood of the song. And I'm very proud of that part of the song. I think that's one of the best parts of the album. Um, and then and like even though this song, like it's really just 90% guitar, like you have a little bit of piano, but I think this song, like it really works great, even though it has almost nothing except guitar. Um, and then lyrically, it's much more simple than a lot more of my songs, but I think I put like one lyric in there. The song only has one lyric, and I put it there because I thought that it would be pretty meaningful, despite being just a few words. And yeah, I kind of like wanted to touch on a serious topic, and um, the song, the lyrics, it's kind of just about body image. Like I've talked about that in a few of my other songs, such as the song "Smart" from my very first album that was a long time ago. But yeah, just kind of like a metaphor for like physical body image as well as mental well-being. And sometimes when I would perform the song live, I would instead replace the word body in the song with the word mind, because sometimes it was like too emotionally heavy to sing those lyrics live, and I was a little bit embarrassed. So kind of like the official lyrics is both body and mind are both there. I'm both saying my mind is heavy and my body is heavy, and yeah, it's really hard to talk about because it's like a very touchy subject for me. But I hope that the lyrics speak to someone and that someone is able to get something out of it. Because yeah, that's a really personal, heavy topic. Um, and just kind of wanted to repeat the lyrics over and over again, the song like a chant, um, and the instrumental is shifting, but the lyrics stay the same. Um, and yeah, I thought yeah, it's definitely one of the most unique songs I've written, I think. Yeah, and I'm glad you really enjoyed it, Julian, and I hope that song connects with people. And I made the music video for it, and I already kind of made a vlog about how I made the music video. And I'm trying to make another music video soon in a very similar style for the title track, Grow In and Low. Um, Kind of just something I made all by myself because I don't have anybody to help me. I edited it by myself, and you can find it on my YouTube channel. But we can move on to the next song here, Guardian's Guardian. And this I mentioned a few minutes ago. This was the other song on the album, including Marina, that where they were inspired by my dreams, and they were both outtakes from the album Sleep Through the Quiet Lust.
I'm a better replacement for the picture, the cover. You don't want to reduce her into some kind of other. You think I should be thankful for everything I discover. Every track that I unfold brings me back to the lover. Trying so hard to be him. Every sample and pleasure. Celebrating the scarecrow. My one and only believer. Still I see why you are, and now I'll be a deflector. Something we can look through now. The world outside is much closer.
I like how the scratchy effect turns to electric guitar. Thanks. Yeah, I'll talk a bit about the production of this song. So this is called Guardian's Guardian, and the title of the song doesn't really mean anything. I'll talk about the production first, though. So it started. My friend Glass Doll, my collaborator on my previous song called "The World Outside." Um, he he gave me this sample of, I think it's electric guitar, but I'm honestly not even sure what it is. But the sample is the first thing that you hear in the song. It's like that little scratchy um, sound, and that kind of repeats for like a minute. He gave me this sample. He was like, "You could use it in a song if you want," and you know, people rarely like come to me with song ideas and be like, go ahead and use this. I was like really excited, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna make this into a full like pop style song, and then and I wanted to pair the acoustic guitar and the more electric noisy type sample. So I kind of have an acoustic guitar picking pattern that kind of mimics what the noisy part is doing. Um, and then I have multiple guitars layered on top in the song. It's not just one guitar; it's multiple. Just to make that clear, like I'm not that good at I'm not that good at guitar. But yeah, and then yeah, the vocal melody, like I said, that was inspired by a dream. So I kind of paired some other ideas that I had together there because I thought that the vocal melody paired really well with the guitar. Um, and then the lyrics I actually wrote a different set of lyrics for this song at first, and those lyrics were like, again, like my really surreal, meaningless lyrical style that like it doesn't even have any meaning. Like I would just like write down the first words that came to my mind. It was like word vomit. And then I let the song sit for a really long time because this album was taking a really long time to get done. So it just sat around for a really long time. And then I revisited it because I was like, okay, I'm gonna finish the part one of this album instead of waiting for the entire thing to be done. So now that I'm trying to finish part one, um, I I revisited this song and I was like, huh, I don't really care for these lyrics. Like they don't mean anything. I ended up just completely rewriting them. But I kept the title of the song. I kept it titled as Guardian's Guardian simply because I just like that title. I don't, and I feel like it fits the song. So the title doesn't really mean anything anymore. Um, it's kind of like how this song I really like by the indie folk artist Alex G. He has a song called SDOS, and it's a really good song, but it's mostly like instrumental. Like there's like some mumbled lyrics in there, but it's mostly an instrumental song. And he said, I read on Genius.com that he had a song where the abbreviation was SDOS, and then he completely rewrote the song, and that abbreviation was not there anymore. But he kept that as the song title because he really liked it. And I was like, huh, I guess that's the same thing happening here with the song Guardian's Guardian. But yeah, I rewrote the lyrics, and now they're still pretty surreal. Like I don't think you could really read that and immediately know what's going on, but I could like explain it a little bit. Um, the lyrics essentially, mm, it's almost like a little personal to reveal, but I mean, you can kind of get a hint if you see the word scarecrow in the lyrics. Um, you'll see that I'm talking about my single, "The World Outside." Um, yeah, I'm actually gonna pull that up on Spotify so you know what I'm talking about. Um, I'm talking in the lyrics. I'm making a reference to um, this song that I made, "The World Outside." And as you can see, it's a collaboration between me and Glassdoll, who is the same person I collaborated with for this song. Um, and on the cover, you have this scarecrow that Glassdoll helped me create the artwork for this song. And I think in Guardian's Guardian, I'm kind of talking about how this song, "The World Outside," ended up being still my most successful song so far. I mean, you, it's not. I understand it's not my top song on Spotify, but this is back in my SoundCloud days. Back in, as you see, October 2019, um, I ended up having a pretty popular artist named Melina Cole, if I can find it. Um, Melina Cole, as you can see, they've got a pretty big following on Spotify. They ended up reposting my song, "The World Outside," and "The World Outside" ended up getting over 1,000 plays pretty quickly. I mean, that's not a lot. Like that's nothing. But for me at the time, like this is one of the first songs that I ever put out. Like that was really big for me. Um, "The World Outside." It's going popular. But then like later I realized like I don't really identify with this song too much. It's like not my proudest work, and um, then like other stuff that's going on in the lyrics here are a little bit too personal. But yeah, the main idea is the Guardian's Guardian, it's referencing the world outside lyrically. And I say the world outside is much closer in the lyrics. That's like a very obvious reference. Oh my god, I've talked about the lyrics here for a long time, but back to how I produced this song. You know, I let this song sit for a real long time. I had the demo for a real long time. Then I revisited it. I rewrote the lyrics, and then I redid the production. And I kind of at first the song was kind of a flop. It was kind of a throwaway. It was like filler. But then I was like, I can make this better. So I started adding more effects. I started adding more reverb. I kind of added like the electric guitar sound you hear. It's actually the same recording as the acoustic guitar, but I added a filter on it to make it sound like an electric guitar. So I thought that was really cool. I think the best part is I added the echo effect, so it sounds like a really complex guitar symphony going on when really it's just the same guitar being echoed multiple times, and I thought it was really cool. Yeah, and I had a lot to say about this song that's like less than 2 minutes long, but I think it's a really good song that's less than 2 minutes long, and I think it has a good length, and I think it's a highlight on the album, and some of my friends have already told me they like it. So yeah, it's a good one with a good story. And we can move on to the next track, which is going to be This Sky.
There's so much more than left to fill your day, but I'm not a morning moon. I don't see much blue. It'll be gone so soon. Every day I cycle through disappearing blue, ready for different hues. If I brought it up to you, would you feel it's true? Would you know it's you? Just get a load of the sky. Every night the sunlight dies. I am inclined to love this sky. The sky will bloom my life. Just get a load of the sky. Every night the sunlight dies. I am inclined to love this sky. The sky will bloom my life. Just get a load of the sky. Every night the sunlight dies. I'm inclined to love the sky. The sky will bloom my life. sky's changing every night. Milestones always die. The sky's changing every night.
I like how diverse all your songs are in terms of style. Like this one is a lot softer than the last one. Oh, thanks. I appreciate that a lot. I think trying to be like a diverse, eclectic artist is really important to me. Um, I think that's really what a big part of what I'm trying to make as my artistic identity. Um, and I appreciate hearing that too, especially because this album is definitely more folk oriented, and overall like the genre is definitely folk. So I was a little bit unsure like how is this gonna affect my musical career? Like I'm putting out another folk album that is maybe less eclectic, but even then like there's a lot of different styles of folk itself on this album, um, and when I started out, I definitely had a lot more folk influenced songs, like um, just um, just vocals and guitar. Where a lot of my songs were just that. Sorry if I say dumb things. I'm classically trained. More modern music I don't know about at all, much less able to properly analyze it. That's okay. I mean, I'm the opposite. Like I could not really say anything about classical music. I haven't taken any classical music classes or anything. Um, and I mean that's okay. Like most people aren't really familiar with my type of like experimental avant-garde music, and most people aren't familiar with the artists that I'm inspired by, which includes like Kate Bush, Björk, Nick Drake, etc. Those are kind of I mean like people know them, but they're kind of more niche. But those are my biggest inspirations behind my music. Um, but anyway, talking about this guy, this song, um, like um, when I first started making music back in 2019, like I was fully willing to kind of be known as like a folk artist, but eventually I just really, really wanted to break out of that shell. Um, so that's why it's kind of scary for me to like release another album that's like really in the folk style, and I was really hoping that I might be able to release a more pop style album before this one ended up coming out. But I couldn't finish the pop style album, so this one's coming out first. And yeah, I didn't want to be typecasted as a folk artist, but I'm glad that people can still see that my music is really eclectic and I have a lot of different styles, despite having a lot of folk songs. But I think in the future, I definitely want to move past more folk and definitely want to move past like the indie folk style, um, Elliott Smith and Nick Drake inspired type music. And in the future, definitely expect a lot more like pop style from me, a lot more electronic and influence, art pop, etc. And an album coming out that's much more like Kate Bush and Björk. Um, yeah, as for this song, this guy, I didn't really talk about it yet. Um, yeah, I will say it's um I don't want to say I don't want to say anything bad about it. I mean I think it's not my favorite song on the album, but I'm still happy with it. Um, yeah, I'm the song it's just acoustic guitar and vocals, so that definitely like has a certain image associated with it. But I think I did a pretty good job of having like a lot of diverse sounds in just that one song. And it started a similar way to the other songs on this album. I started with the guitar first, um, and the song is in an alternate tuning. Um, I It's one of my few songs that's not in standard tuning. A lot of my favorite artists, Nick Drake, Joni Mitchell, they like to experiment with alternate tunings. Some people are very against that. Like my dad would um, not understand what it means to be in an alternate tuning. Like, um, but yeah, a lot of my favorite artists really experimented with the sound range of the guitar by using alternate tunings. This tuning, it's invented by my collaborator on the last song on the album. His name is Glass Doll, and he invented this tuning on his song. What was it called? It was called like Dancers That Flourish in the Twilight or something like that. He has this tuning that he made up for this song, um, and he sent me a recording of how to that I referenced to tune my guitar to this new tuning, and I decided, yeah, I'll write a song with this tuning. I don't even know what it's called, but I just kind of like listened to it, and then I used like some basic guitar chord shapes to make something that I thought sounded good. I just kind of like messed around, didn't even know what any of these chords were called, and I just made something that sounded good. I think that's what a lot of people should strive for with music. Just like, doesn't really matter like what theories behind what you're making. Just make something that sounds good, even if you don't know what you're playing. And that was the idea behind this song and how I came up with it. So yeah, the guitar came first. I made the whole guitar instrumental, and also like kind of grouper inspired. I mentioned her a few minutes ago. She's got a lot of acoustic guitar, ambient type songs with a lot of reverb, and it's very laid back. And she's able to get a lot of different types of sounds with just that acoustic guitar. And then vocals kind of just inspired by the guitar chord progression, and then lyrics. Again, it's like kind of a personal topic that I don't know how much I can talk about. Yeah, I didn't like prepare notes for these commentaries. I'm kind of just like winging this. Yeah, what can I say about the lyrics of this Sky? Yeah, I mean it's a metaphor. If you like read it, I'm talking about like a a. I also I mentioned how I completely rewrote the lyrics for Guardian's Guardian, and I did the same thing for this one. Like this song sat around for a really long time, and then I decided to completely rewrite the lyrics when I revisited it to release the album. And originally the lyrics were like so confusing and kind of cringe, and then I decided to just remake it into a much more clear metaphor about a sky that is changing all the time, like changing color, changing brightness, and comparing that to a person who is extremely inconsistent. Like you never know what to expect, but it's something that you love and you're attached to, and I think that's all I can really share without getting too personal, and I think it's pretty straightforward. Alright, we can move on to the next track then, I think. Rest in Peace Cactus. And this is the only song that I didn't create all the way back in 2021 and 22. This is a song that I made just about a year ago in fall 2023. So it's the only one that's not super old. This is Rest in Peace Cactus.
I checked on my potted plant, and the white stalk had fallen off. Then I saw the larger stalk green spines floating in water, living in abundance of what you don't need. I checked on my potted plant, and the white stalk had fallen off. Then I saw the magic stalk had no roots. I tried to water it like I always do, and I looked down, I saw it disappear, fading away was my greatest fear. I saw green spines floating in water, living in abundance of what you don't need.
So that was track 6, Rest in Peace Cactus. Um, and as I mentioned, that was I originally made 6 songs on the album back in like 2022, and I recorded the full instrumentals for those, had lyrics and melodies and everything, but I just couldn't get the full album finished. I only had those 6 songs done, and then eventually I was like, I need to just release these 6 songs as like part 1 of the album, but 6 songs is not enough. Like I need to add something else. So Rest in Peace Cactus that ended up getting added to the track list. I actually made it for a class. I made it for a music composition class. The assignment was not as specific as you might think. The assignment was extremely vague. The assignment was like um, uses make a song that has some kind of limitation, and the limitation I used was planing, which is something I just found out about through the class. But like the piano melody, it's the same pattern but on different positions in the piano. It kind of creates that weird, slightly dissonant sound, which I think is really cool. So I decided, yeah, I'll just make a song with that. And then it ended up being like an ambient pop thing. Um, and then um, I recorded the vocals like super last minute, and I was in my dorm room, um, so that's why they're so quiet and so like whispery. And but I ended up thinking like, okay, yeah, that was actually kind of perfect, like having it be so quiet and whispery and ambient. And I kept the same vocals from the demos that I made for my class, um, and then and then halfway through the song, I kind of had this idea. I was like, huh, this should like transition somewhere else, and then I have kind of like transitions to like a more upbeat tone with the drums and the bass coming in, um, but still having that really soothing ambient style. Um, and so yeah, I made it for my class, and I presented it in front of the class, and they all seemed to really like it, and then I got some valuable feedback from them. The main thing was I had to perfect that ambient piano sound, because GarageBand will often have assume that you want like a really upbeat pop piano sound, but that's not what I was going for. Um, and then I had this song. I didn't know what to do with it, but then I ended up realizing I had to release these 6 songs eventually, and then this song I realized it fit perfectly with the rest of the song, so it ended up being um, attached onto the rest of the album, and I think it fits perfectly right there at track 6. Yeah, you wrote, your voice is really soft in it, even more than the other songs, but I noticed the upbeat part. It's a good song. Thank you. Yeah, the soft voice, it was part of part of it was I was recording it super last minute. I think it was like 11 p.m. and people were probably like studying or sleeping in the dorm, and I didn't want to be a disturbance, and I didn't want to travel somewhere else at 11 p.m. and the assignment was due tomorrow. So I just recorded them uh, very quietly, and I mixed them low. Kind of another thing inspired by Grouper, where the lyrics are like kind of there, um, but kind of just as an effect more than the star of the show. Um, and I actually ended up really liking it there. I think maybe it's a little bit jarring to have the vocals that low, but honestly, like that's just my intention. That's just the sounds that I'm trying to go for, and I hope that people understand it and enjoy it and can see the grouper influence there. Um, yeah, as for the lyrics to the song, if you see the album credits on my Bandcamp, you'll see that Lillian Lee, who is my collaborator from Songwriters Association at Northwestern, she was on the first Swan mixtape. She made the song Different Hue, and we were friends, and we met at several of these Swan meetings at Northwestern, and one of our songwriting challenges was one of our songwriting challenges. I honestly don't even remember what the songwriting prompt was, but we just ended up writing something together. We wrote these lyrics, and I came up with the melody. And she had this instrumental that she already made, and she was like, let's make a song that goes with this instrumental." And I'm pretty sure it was the same instrumental as her song "Different Hue," which you can hear on the album Swan Song. Um, but I ended up like writing like something else that goes with the same instrumental, and it ended up being this. Um, and I hope that she's okay with me eventually using it. But I mean, like it was just something that we came up with in like 20 minutes, and yeah, and then I ended up making my instrumental completely different from hers, um, and the lyrics that we made. Also, I was like I always write stuff inspired by my dreams, so let's just do another dream inspired song. And I said I had a dream that about my cactus, and I had this very tiny potted cactus that I got from a school event, and I was taking really good care of it, and then it just I might have put some pictures of it on my Instagram or something, but like it started out tiny, and then it like I was just taking such good care of it that it was like growing like astronomically. Like it became like 3 times as tall. It was crazy. Um, and then it had like the main green stalk, and then like a this crazy white stalk that was like growing up. It was like growing an arm. It was crazy. And then I had a dream that someone had like dumped out the cactus in the pot into like a tub of water, and then the white arm of the cactus just completely fell off, um, and then it was just like floating in the water, um, and this and yeah, this really weird dream. It felt kind of meaningful. In fact, like why would a cactus be in so much water and be drowning? Um, and then yeah, and side note, in real life, that cactus also actually died because my dad overwatered it. Um, so it's kind of funny how the dream kind of ended up becoming true because my dad was very irresponsible. Um, and the white arm actually did fall off too. Like it was just like so big and heavy, like the main stalk could not hold it. So it just that fell off too. So yeah, the lyrics kind of end up becoming true, which is why the song is called "Rest in Peace, Cactus," because it's like, because it's like a death song for my little cactus, um, and yeah, in the lyrics, I'm like also comparing the dream, what happened in the dream, to like living an abundance of what you don't need, and then it's like a dumb little metaphor, but I think it's a cute song. It's a good song, and honestly, like when I've been listening to this album, uh, back back and forth, listening to this album, trying to make sure that it sounds good and everything, just like listening over and over. I keep coming back to this song a lot. I think I think that's a sign that like I've made a song that is exactly the kind of music that I want to hear. Like I keep revisiting this song and I'm like, wow, like I really love this kind of ambient pop music. And I think the fact that the vocals are so quiet in it helps me cringe a little bit less. Um, because then I don't have to listen to how bad my singing is as closely, so that helps. And yeah, it wasn't made for the album originally, but then it ended up fitting perfectly. So there you go, and I'm really proud of that track. Yeah, I'm starting to get kind of tired, and I got stuff to do after this. So we just got one more song left on the album, and then we're gonna wrap this up for today. This is the final track, and IVC. But this one I kind of got a lot to say about though, so we got another long commentary after this one. But let's just listen to it first.
I wanted time alone at night. The street lights had nothing to hide. The special meaning of outside, behind the group, below fence lines. Soft ground ivy, my currency. Every scene written brightly. Where is that now? Where is that now? What I do now, I guess somehow. Where is that now? Where is that now? What I do now, I guess somehow. I snuck outside to hit the lights. Nostalgic scene among the night. The clothes they never know I wear, creating magic in the air. Soft ground ivy, my currency. Every scene written brightly. Will I be safe? Will I be safe? Safe in my faith, safe in my face. Will I be safe? Will I be safe? Safe in my faith, safe in my face. Same nights outside inspire growing minds. Same nights outside inspire growing minds. An ivy sea, an ivy sea. I see myself living my past like a rerun. I see myself living my past like a rerun. I see myself living my past like growing minds.
So that was an IVC, the 7-minute closer to this 29-minute album. But yeah, it's a big one. And yeah, where do I start? It's kind of a song's got a lot in it. Um, but yeah, I guess I could start by saying I technically started the idea for this song all the way back in 2018. That was before I even was posting music online. That was 2018, like late 2018. That was when I was starting to experiment with songwriting for the first time and kind of starting to toy with the idea of becoming a pop star. Um, and um, and you know, by that time I didn't really know what kind of music I was gonna make. So I decided I would just like make this very experimental Scott Walker type song. Like Scott Walker, Tilt was a big inspiration for that song. Even though the final product didn't really end up being anything like the album Tilt, but the initial inspiration to write a song like that was that album. Like very dark, experimental, a lot of random sounds and um, a lot of very dramatically shifting emotional songs. I think all of that kind of ended up making its way into the final version. Um, and yeah, my first idea was like I'll make this song that has a very dramatic shift, and then that found its way by having a part with the clarinet and the drums, um, and then but for a while like I didn't know what to do with this song. I was like, I don't know what album this is gonna fit on. Like it's not gonna fit on either of my dream inspired albums because it didn't come from a dream, and it's not gonna fit on Lowercase or Lower Life because it's too experimental. It's not folky enough. It just ended up sitting around. But then it ended up like fitting more with this album style because it's like it's got that folk influence, but also like psychedelic type sounds. And I think this album, it definitely has that avant-garde style to it in a lot of places. So I felt like the album really fit there. Didn't know you started all the way back in 2018 though. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I did my first open mic performance in 2018 in high school, and that was when I started experimenting with songwriting. But my first musical release was 2019, which was just a year after that. So yeah, I've been doing this like the same stuff with my music for 5 years now, 5.5 years about. But anyway, and IVC, um, yeah, so it ended up fitting pretty well on this Grow In and Low album concept. So I finally revisited the super old song that I wrote. I wrote a melody and lyrics for, um, and just revamped it, added some new ideas, rewrote the lyrics, um, and then kind of like the last thing that I decided to add to the album was kind of like the ending section there, where I was like, this needs something more. Like I can't just end the album there. Like I feel like this song, it needs more. It needs something that will like be a really satisfying ending. So I kind of add that more upbeat piano section, and then I decided, it would be really cool if I kind of called back to the title track. So there you have like the same synth preset and the same kind of drums as the title track Grow In and Low. So there's kind of a self-reference there, kind of returning to the key track of the album, Grow In and Low. And there you have, and then that was, my ending. But then my friend Ramiel, who, shout out to Ramiel for giving me some really good feedback on the album before I uploaded it. But Ramiel was like, I don't know if the ending really speaks to me. So I was like, yeah, you're right. Like this ending's kind of weird. So I ended up kind of like bringing back the middle part of the song and making that as the ending, because like the middle part, that was the ending in my first version of the song, but it's kind of weird to have like two parts of the song that sound like endings. So I just brought that one back. That's kind of confusing, but that sometimes the songwriting process is like just like adding and adding and just like so many different versions of one song. And then as for lyrically, originally my first version of this song was, and it was originally called A Golden Sea. It originally was going to be like a environmental song. I was originally just going to kind of make a song about how like we're destroying the planet, but that was just kind of boring. I was like, I don't really have anything valuable to contribute to this conversation. Even though it is a good conversation, it was the lyrics I originally had were kind of meh. So I ended up rewriting the lyrics to something much more relevant to me. Not that environmental songs aren't relevant, but I mean, that was such a bad way to word it. I mean, like, much more recent to me. I wrote the lyrics about the fact that I did a photo shoot of myself for this album in my backyard. And I wore a coat that my parents don't know that I bought. Um, and I don't think they would be happy with me wearing that coat with like pentagrams and crosses on it. But yeah, I did that to take some pictures to promote the album, and I realized, this is kind of like when I would go outside in the backyard as a kid, and I would like pretend and imagine games in my head, and I would talk to the plants or something like that. It's like me sneaking outside and kind of being myself, and just making some creativity in the backyard at night. And as a kid, I also didn't realize like the fact that being outside at night could be kind of dangerous, but I didn't really care. And as an adult, like again, I'm going outside at night. I'm kind of hiding it because I know some people might judge me for that, like being in the backyard and taking these pictures with this kind of scandalous coat. But yeah, I hope that kind of explanation, like me comparing these two things, kind of helps make the lyrics make more sense, because it might seem a little bit cryptic. on a first listen. But that's what it's about. Um, and then kind of the ending is more just like the lyrics are like um, the ending. I see myself living my past like a rerun. It's kind of just like a lyric that helps bring this album to a close, and then um, like whenever I write a song that's gonna be the last track on the album, I always make sure that it sounds like it's the ending to the album. Kind of like I like I want to get like that credits rolling vibe. So that's what I was going for with the ending piano part here. Just really making sure that it's a fitting conclusion to this journey that we've gone through. Um, and then I just kept adding to it, and that ended up being 7 minutes long. Um, and it was also the first song that I recorded with while having braces, um, and so that's why the vocals kind of ended up being like kind of whispery and muffled, um, and and I don't know like how I feel about it, but I mean it's kind of a unique sound, and it turned out okay. And people already told me that they liked the song. I mean I feel like it could be better, but I didn't want to linger on it too long. And I'm glad it's out, and I'm glad people are enjoying it. And yeah, I think I like talked about everything this album had to offer. Like I told the story of how originally it was going to be a collaboration album with my friend Tunes, but we just couldn't figure out the rest of the songs, and Tunes couldn't figure out any of their songs, so it ended up just being a solo album, and it's going to be part one, so part two is going to be coming sometime in the future. Don't know when. We'll have to see. I've got a lot of other projects that I'm thinking about. I'm gonna make my pop album that includes the song "Actress." I know it's been over a year since I released that, but that is coming. And then and then I'm planning to re-record my album "Sleep Through the Quiet Lust" and possibly re-record the album "Requirements for Sleep" too, and then remaster my other albums. So I've got a lot of projects coming forward, and then I'm gonna start thinking about the part two of this album. That's hopefully gonna be like a similar sound. It's gonna have the songs written together with me, with my friend Tunes, um, and yeah, I'm really looking forward to when I will have time to record that. And I'm really proud of how this album came out. Even the songs are really old. I made them like 2021, 2022. Um, like I rewrote the lyrics, I redid the vocals and production, and I made it as best as it could possibly sound. And I think this is a perfect thing to be releasing in 2024. I've made so much progress since I made my last proper album, Sleep Through the Quiet Lust, in 2022. So I'm really glad that I can hear that progress, and people can hear that progress, and that going forward, I'm going to make my music as best as it possibly can. I'm no longer going to put out albums and make it be like, oh, this is just a work in progress, like it's not done. Like, no, like from now on, I'm gonna make my music sound as perfect as it possibly can. And yeah, that's the listening party, and talking about all the songs. I'm gonna be uploading this to my YouTube later, so people can check out the commentary and all the songs and how I made them. I'm definitely gonna be deleting the part where I accidentally was muted for like 2 minutes. Because that was really embarrassing. And that will be a pain to edit, but I'll do it. And big thank you and big shout out to anybody who checked out the album already, and I hope that many more people will listen to it in the future. And I got a belated birthday dinner later tonight with my friends, and I'm really excited for that. And next stream on Friday night and Saturday afternoon as usual. And have a great rest of your day for anybody who is watching this or the recording.